Hello, Frosty510 here with a Diablo IV pre-order closed, well, pre-order beta. I thought it was pre-order beta. The pre-beta. Pre-beta beta. The master, okay, with impressions and just a quick summary, my thoughts and feelings about the beta and about the game as it's presented to us. I know that there'll be changes and things, and you always sort of take everything with the grain of salt of thinking whether or not something is actually ready or not, and then you sort of question whether or not they'll change anything, because sometimes I've seen it myself where they don't change anything from a beta and they think it's all good, and that was not the good idea. E.g. Battlefield. It was released in beta. I mean, Charlie, or you know, it is in alpha, probably more accurate description. But they did, you know, you have feedback, and then they don't have enough time to implement it. It takes months to change things. Yes, I'll get to full health, so you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, Diablo 4, is it good? That's where we'll start. Yes, I think it's good. I think he is good. Yes, it's good. The world is massive. We only get to explore this section, but it feels like a big section. It feels like a lot, and it's particularly when there's some poor placement for waypoints, making it that you have to run a long way to get to each part. And again, sort of one of the things I was worried about when they said they had mounts was that it would be unnecessary to have them, because it would feel like you were skipping combat sections using the mount. But actually, running around the world that they've given us, I think that mounts can work perfectly fine, because there is enough separation between the mobs, and it feels like, you know, for some, the best example, the world boss. World boss is over here. To get there, you got to spawn here, you go all the way there, which does take you a couple minutes. So again, it's not a small world. There is the feeling of traversal of distance. We have the dungeons, so see, I've got dungeons that I've done and ones that I haven't done and ones that I've done on other characters, and you know, whatever, and they tell you what their reward. So one of the things I would change is I wouldn't show what reward there was, because it disincentivizes exploring all the dungeons on your first playthrough. And then what they could do is just to have the random rewards anyway, and that would be, I think, really good for replayability for different characters. Again, you couldn't just farm the reward you want. You'd actually have to go and look for it. But again, these transfer over across characters, so it's kind of, there's meta progression, which I think is pretty good. The storage, I think, is quite good. I'll show you that. And you can get upgrades for it, which aren't pay to win. I mean, not pay to increase. So they're not like PoE, which is, again, it's a paid for game. You'll notice I get these loading hitches, which is probably the number one thing they'll work on, to be honest. Out of everything people complain about, the number one that they'll actually look at and maybe try and do something about is these loading between areas parts where you seem to run into invisible walls. And it can be quite frustrating. Oh, where am I going? Storeroom. I get lost occasionally. There's a number of different upgrade venues. So one of the things I don't like, you upgrade the jewelry at the upgrade for swapping legendary traits across. I was like, I mean, at the jewelry shop you upgrade for the jewelry, and then the legendary traits. There's a fair few systems. So one of the things you can do is get more storage space, which just costs you 100,000, then it goes up to 200,000, then it'll go 400,000, and that's really nice. Something that, again, with the way that the loot is structured, we have much more loot space than we've ever had in a Diablo game. I think that's fair to say. Diablo 3 probably added the stash tabs later on when I stopped playing. And you can sort it, that one. You can't sort, at the minute, you can't sort your loot in the bag. It doesn't actually work, which is, that's one thing they'll add. Yes, simple. But with the way that every single item is the same size in your loot storage, see how everything is the same size? The rings, the jewels, gems are the same size as your armor and things, so you do have way more space than we've had in a just walking around inventory to start with. especially compared to like a Diablo 2. The difference is astronomical. So again, you're spoiled. You're going to get so much loot, so much rare loot, so many legendaries dropped during the beta, and this is only up to level 25. So my gut instinct is that they might do something about that, or they may. My preference would be that it's fine. The loot dropping was good. No complaints about the loot drops. World boss dropped legendaries. Perfect. Perfectly. Everything's good with loot. Again, we'll have arguments. I think loot's perfectly fine. But, you know, maybe they'll decide there's too many legendaries. Everyone's got legendaries, you know, even though they're imprinted or transferred across their aspects and sort of stuff like that. It's one of those things. We shall see how they respond. You can change the look of your equipment, so this is something that I think is good. One of the things I've done is you can unequip look, and then we yes, confirm, triangle, confirm. You have to confirm everything. You can't just assume that it's applied. And then we confirm, yes, saved. So I just run around without any weapons out, which is great. Barbarian could do that, run around with no weapons. Do all your skills with no weapons out. Waypoints are pretty far apart. They make the world feel bigger because you do have to run around a lot, which is an intended feature. So I don't think they'll add more waypoints. There's one where they will add. Absolutely 1,000,000% they need to add a waypoint here, which is the church. Big church area. And then of course you've got another church here. So you need a waypoint here and a waypoint here. So to get there for a main mission, you have to get over there. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. Especially if you miss the Bear Tribe Refuge, which again, everything's fog of war. If you miss this waypoint, it's a big bloody walk to get there. And everywhere, of course, you've got to get there first before you can get the waypoint. You've got to get to the waypoint, etc., etc., etc. The mission tree stuff, I think, is fine. All the side missions and things, again, it's not a big deal. It's the side missions themselves, for the most part, I think they're okay. The one with the sister in the capital, where you go around to sellers, that was good. Some of them, they do sort of have some sort of outcome or continuation, but most of them don't. Most of them are like, you go to an area, you kill some dudes, you collect some resource, you find someone's dead body, you come back and tell them that their husband is dead, you know, because you went to find their husband, and then, oh no, and then they're sad, and it's like, oh. Some of them, they do take you to dungeons, and there may be dungeons you've been to before, or ones you've never been to. And that's okay, because you can, as show here, reset the dungeons. So you can hold square, you can reset them all. Yeah. So you can go back in them again, you can farm them again. The ones that you like, you can go back. I can't quite feel necessary to go back, because again, this is a beta, and you're capped at level 25, so I don't feel as though it's worthwhile to just do that. And this is on console, so again, this is a console beta review, so just, you know, for added context. Skill tree is good. I felt like I needed way more skills, so that's the good thing. Even though this is the full skill tree, you can't get to the bottom part here. I felt like I needed way more, to do more with the build, to be more specific. So I think the fact that you can refund your skills, again, you have to be mindful of you have to go from the top down. Because again, you've got nodes, something on the top node, you have to remove the ones from the top, the blocks from the top to collapse the block tower. And I think they nailed that you have refund rank. And the cost is very, very cheap. Now, it does increase very slightly as you level up, but nothing to worry about. So I think when you get to level 50, I'd be surprised if the refund rank cost went more than 1,000. Which by then is nothing, because you get plenty of money. Like, you sell one item for $1,000. So it'd be interesting to see how they handle that, whether they think, because I think this is the kind consideration by the Diablo team for all the arguments between the D2 fans and the D3 fans about permanence in your decision making. So this one, you can refund it, but at the same time, the permanence, the most important part of your decision making, is still here, even though you can refund all your skills and try every skill out, because you only have a certain amount of skills, so you can't get every single skill on the skill tree. And that's kind of where the D2 fans disagree with the D3 fans, because on Diablo 3 you could get every skill, and then Paragon Board is where you had your distinction about who your character was. And again, the modifiers on your skills was the sort of thing, but at the same time you just go with the higher level ones because they're better. But, you know, argue that one as much as you want. But there is still build guides. You still need build guides, because you didn't really need a lot of build guides D3 until you're Paragon Board, and then you know, it's about getting the equipment with 10 billion damage and 10 billion damage here and there. Yeah. As for stats, it's interesting that each character has its own way of doing its stats for the most part. Sort of does, sort of doesn't. It's very interesting to see, because it's one of those things where the fantasy aspect is really important. So we're increasing armor with strength, and on the barbarian, of course, strength is damage and skill damage, because you're barbarian. Logical. We don't know what. So that's the PvP Panda stuff. The O-balls, I always fill that up, and I gotta remember to use them. They're for gambling, which is, you know, interesting. You know, it's not that big a deal, the gambling. Yet. But there, you can do the gambling on the affixes, so you can swap affixes. There's a lot of stuff that they've learnt, I feel, and also lots of things they're not quite as specific about, so it's not PoE. So let's be frank about that. Let's just grab our focus. I go around the blue one. Bugger. It's not PoE. It's not Diablo 2, it's not Diablo 3, it's Diablo 4. So I think playing through the main quest for this Act 1, finishing it, I've done it twice now, did it with the Rogue in 4 hours. So again, it doesn't take too long if you really focus on the main quest. Even then I still took distraction. I still went off and did an extra dungeon and just stuffed around. But it felt like it's good. I think it's good. You're better off taking your time though. I do think rushing through the game for the next weekend, I don't think that's going to be of any value. I feel like you just need to play at your own pace. Do how you want to do it. Again, you can rush if you want. But the story design at times is a bit silly. So there's moments where you meet a person at a specific location, and then you help them along progress the quest, and then they teleport to a stupid place in the bloody forest. And you got to run all the way over there again, and then they're back there again, and then they run back there again, and there's a bit of this, why are they going somewhere where there's no waypoint? Surely there'll be a waypoint here. Yeah, we know where there'll be good, there'll be one there, surely. So there could have been more, I think, more convenience, and I think that would have been more like D3. Yes, I'm arguing there. There could have been a lot more. And again, the world boss is here. You could have had a waypoint here. You could have had one just here, and that would have been fine, and then you could go to the world boss. The world boss itself, it's quite challenging if you haven't got any defensive abilities where you don't actually die because you get hit by it and get like insta-killed. Or killed, but then the damage overpowered just keeps hitting you, and then you can't heal yourself out of it. So it is a challenge. It's good. It takes you a while. I got it on my channel. Did I upload it yet? I'll have uploaded a boss fight on my channel before this is out. So you'll be able to see it on my channel. Frostify 10. Yeah, it'll be there. And I die a lot. But we get the job done. That's what matters. The other points about the map. Again, we have loading between these areas. So a lot of these spots, not all of them, some of them in particular, when they're changing the nature of the environment, they have these hitching as you go across these parts. The ones that work better naturally are the ones that are divided by your little bridge, which you jump across, like that sort of thing there. If that one's connected. That one's not even connected, is it? So you need to have... Oh, they're not even showing on the map. So there's the little ledges that you go across that I think they need to use a bit more. They maybe need to integrate them more into the world. So even though it's a bit obtrusive for a horse, for the loading zones, it gives you a chance. God of War style, squeezing between the crack, so you can give the game a second to load, because it's quite ugly when you run up against invisible walls, and some of them early on in the beta, I couldn't progress the main quest because I ran over here. And I thought, there's an invisible wall. I can't get past it. Now, they did do a little bit of work on it, thankfully. But you still have a little bit of it there. It used to be... yesterday, can I say it already? The NPCs hadn't loaded in, so you'd be stuck. It's very interesting in that. Let's go travel. The teleporting without using a teleport scroll, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful quality of life. Absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad we don't need teleporting scrolls. It's the stupidest thing in any game. Any game that has a teleporting scroll, please don't have teleporting scrolls. Yes, PoE. Yes, Diablo 2. No teleporting scrolls. Oof. The enemies spawn on you quite quickly, so it's one of the things you're always feeling challenged, you're always feeling rewarded for moving forward as you get XP and progress. And the environmental effects, I think, all for the most part look good. One of the cutscenes during dialogue, yeah, the texture didn't load in properly, so they could adjust that. I'm sure they will. The vendors, they don't feel as meaningful. They don't have a lot of stock. So one of the things I hope going forward is they'll have a lot more stock. Because just having 3...
foolish stock. She was meant to be a hunter.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel like a lot. Blacksmith, again, I feel it's a bit clunky at times. Because it sort of makes you feel like it's going to delete your actual... So say I want to do magic. It's this action irreversibly destroy all magic items in your inventory. It makes it feel like, oh, is it going to do my equipped items too? But no, it's not. It just sort of makes you go, oh. The transmog, again, I don't care too much about the transmog, to be perfectly honest.
Dull edges or bad dints?
Sort the inventory. Inventory sorting is good. That's always nice. We have upgrading. Repairing only matters when you die. So if you see the repair and you think, oh, we got durability now. Oh, that's not good. It's just every time you die, you lose 10%. I suppose the point is that you don't want to die 10 times. And then all your equipment's broken and you have to go back. So that's kind of with the world boss, I suppose, fitting in that in a better way. One of the things you can do is upgrade your equipment. It just does a little improvement. It's not massive. It's not anything game breaking. So again, it's not totally necessary. Maybe later on in endgame it's absolutely necessary, but early on not such a big deal. In the beta it's not such a big deal. And also adding sockets, like adding a single socket, adding a gem. It's no rune words, so maybe they'll add them later on. So there's nothing that drops with 3 sockets. I think you can get 2 sockets, but I've seen 2 sockets on a weapon. But I haven't seen anything with 3 sockets. Anything else to change? Anything other issues I've had? Queues, massive issues, 4.5 hours and stuff. It's terrible. I'm trying to think of what can they fix before release that really matters. Some of the skills are really good. Some of them I feel should be slightly better, but again, it's all about how you build towards each skill. So some of the skills feel like they're weaker, and that's because you have to set up so much more to get value out of them. So Firewall example doesn't seem as good until you do the enchantment for it. And the enchantment for Firewall, where are you, Firewall? Media Firewall. So each time an enemy takes burning damage, there's a 5% chance to spawn 2 firewalls underneath them for 3 seconds. And if you're doing a lot of burn damage, that's crazy. So that sort of stacking fire thing is absolutely... Again, that's it. That's crazy. I could do that with the Hydras. Yes, I could integrate Firewall into a Hydra strategy. So there's lots of options. Lots and lots of options with enchantment, with the Sorceress, which is great. Barbarian, all the weapons, and you got a lot more to consider in terms of which weapons use the skills. So you have that to think about, which is great. I think it's good to have that option as opposed to just locking them in. So you can use dual wield for whirlwind, or you can use like a club, hammer, or you could use an axe, big sword. So you have the choice of modifying the ability in a way that suits that weapon you chose for that slot. So again, you want to do mana management. If you want to use your core skills and use a lot of mana, then you need other skills which give you mana. So it's a kind of to and fro, managing your resources, manage your resource generation, which is fine. Again, more similar to D3, because you are building back your actual resource just with your basic attacks. The complementary attacks, so some that generate mana, some don't use mana, some have cooldowns, and it's kind of the mixing of them all up together. I'm on console, so again, you're going to say graphics or whatever, I don't give a shit. I think the game looks fine, good for the most part. In some areas it looks great, other areas it depends again on the topography, and just the natural, what it would look like in that sort of setting. Day-night cycle is working, so that's a big positive. Tremendous positive, must be said. Let's go back to town. Loading times. This is one of the things I'll need to work on, along with the loading times of going from A to B. There's an inconsistency in teleportation times. Sometimes it can take, like just then, 10, 15, 20 seconds. Other times it can take a minute or 2 minutes and make you feel like the game has crashed. So I feel, I do want to, that's a quick warning. If you join the open beta next weekend and the load time, it's taking a while, just wait. You're so much better off just waiting for it to load, rather than exiting the game and then going back to the queue and then being stuck in the queue again, which again, they fixed the queues. They went from being 110 minutes, 97 minutes to 17 minutes and lots quicker. So they're improving as we speak, which is wonderful. But this is a beta impression, so I'm trying to get along all the feelings and all the experiences I've had. But for the most part, things have gotten better, and that's wonderful. Server issues are things that should be anticipated, and this is kind of the whole point though of the beta, is you're testing the server and going, oh, wait a second, we had way more people than we thought we would. Blizzard, come on, can you actually, give us some money, give us some more servers and stuff? And then Diablo 2 Resurrected comes out, and then, so they've gone through this all with Diablo 2 Resurrected when that came out, and they couldn't handle it, and we had the massive issues with lobby load times and restricting how many lobbies you can have in a row within a certain period of time, so you can't just jump from game to game to game to game to game to game like you would in Diablo 2 Resurrected. But this is different. This isn't a lobby game. Or is it? When you join social and you go in someone else's game, you go into their world. And one of the things that happens is if they leave while you're in their world, I think it's this sort of, whose world are you progressing? And there is a kind of strangeness going on that I must say it had no permanent effect, but it's interesting. So we have a clans system, we have challenges. Now, this is something I want them to fix. How long we're going? Okay. So I'm doing well. The rewards for these challenges are trash. You get player titles. Absolute trash. There is absolutely no other way to describe it. The rewards for the challenges are trash. This is something that I'll show you. This is all you get. Go to your profile, edit. You can change your name to what these little profile. You got 2 words you can work with. It could be little imp, or it could be little killer, little power, little rubbish, little trash, or it could be lonely trash, or magic wayfarer, magic. It's so there'll be relevance to the titles only in one situation. When you go to the world boss, and then you see, someone puts himself as magic, and dancer, deadeye, drifter. We have elements on this side, do we? Why don't we do that? So we got pyro. Here we go, pyro. Spellbinder, Sundra, Tinker, Spellbinder, probably. Pyro power, simple. Pyromaniac, simple. You see Pyromaniac, you will see them. And we go confirm. Yes, you had to confirm everything. And you have emblems, which again don't mean anything. Don't worry about that. And now you can see the titles. So we got foul trash, lethal power, I'm Pyromaniac, and they can see that. And when you're at the world boss and people pyro or ice, and you go, maybe they use that element, maybe they don't. Maybe they did it for their last build and they didn't change it. It feels like it has some sort of value there, but everywhere else it's not a substantial reward. It is such a minimally, such a minimal reward. I want something better. That's my challenge. That's the challenge to the Diablo team. I want something better than Meticulous Armory. Kill an enemy with a two-handed bludgeoning, two-handed slashing, and a one-handed weapon. So, and you get little XP, of course, tiny XP. I want something more, and it can be more colors in the cosmetic, because one of the things that's really good that is that when you go to modify your equipment, and you can change, you got the transmog system, so you can look for a whole bunch of stuff. You have to break it down to get it. You can run around, show your nipples. Okay. Where's my actual armor? There we go. Let's go to the pants. Pants is a good one. So we can change the color of the pants and the boots and the armor, and it's really nice that we actually have a choice. And we can apply it to all, so we can change the whole look. And we can zoom in on the pants. There's a bit of clipping with the other issue is the cape. So for my torso, I have a cape, and the cape sometimes it can flip around. Let me just and you can do your items, you can do your appearance, you can change the markings, things like that. Again, not a big deal, but it's nice to have. The character customization, as you build your character to start the game, it isn't as good as I thought it would be. Too few hairstyles for all the characters. There's not enough hairstyles, not enough hair colors, or a slider. You just need a full color slider for all of the makeup, for all it's a bit disappointing that you can't have really fluoro yellow or fluoro green or any sort of outrageous color, and some of the basic ones are also missing. It's odd. It's odd, the hair colors. They're not... They could be much better. So they can add more. They can add an actual gradient slider. Will they do that? Maybe, maybe not. But it's just something that they should do. And the facial variations, there isn't that much. You can't adjust the size of your nose, the size of your lips. Like individually, you can't sculpt the face, which, again, is disappointing. Because you are in cutscenes, although you do look good in cutscenes. I look good in cutscenes anyway. Let's see, here we go. So the rewards for the renown thing, I think it's good. Getting the gold, the individual reward is the top one, and then the group one. So starting a new character and you start off with a couple of skill points because your previous character earned them is actually really nice. It's so nice. You can get an ability to start. You don't have to sort of slum it as long. And it just feels... It feels enjoyable. To come in, you've got all that sort of stuff. You got all the things in your stash you can use. If you're smart, you got yourself some gear that's low level, you kept it around, you didn't just turf it. It feels nice. And to get these big cash bonuses, which they aren't big really, because eventually you're getting way more money, but it's nice. The max O-balls is, yeah, we won't worry about that too much. That's not a big deal. The concern is the Altars of Lilith don't transfer over between characters, but my concern is that their boon... Does their boon apply across characters? Because I would hope not. Because if it did, then the meta will be for PvP 12. You got to make 12 characters. All of them have to find all the Altars of Lilith, and then transfer the bonuses across. But let's not think about that too much. I'm sure they'll sort that out. I'm sure that's not the case. Surely not the case. So we have the strongholds, we have the waypoints. So there's a bit of repetition in what you do, but there is variation in that repetition, which is the nature of open world games. But in this case, it's better than most open world games, to be frank. You get the variations in terms of the objectives in the dungeons, the specific objectives, and the variation in the strongholds, and the variation around just traveling around. You get random events. See, that's a mission circle thing. They tell you roughly where it is most of the time. And just as you go around, you get little red circles, you do events, you meet other people doing the events, because you have a little bit of a load time as you walk through and you go, oh, that means someone else is there. So you use the fact that there's load times, which show that there's other people, to know it's worthwhile to keep exploring that little area. Because you'll run into other people, help them out, maybe they're fighting a boss, you chuck down a couple spells, you kill the boss, you feel good about yourself, move on, you get the loot, and everyone gets their own loot. So there's no fighting for loot. And you can trade, which I've done. Randomly traded crap with another person while waiting for the world boss, just to see if it worked, and it does. So you can't trade legendaries though. So you can only trade the rares, which again, the rares can be really, really good and really, really important, yes. But not being able to trade the legendaries is a bit disappointing, because I wanted to give a very specific legendary at the time to a player that was using lightning as part of their sorcery build. And I had a lightning amulet that I picked up that had a good ability, and I thought, oh, I'll just give them that, because then I'm not going to use it. Maybe they'll use it. And you can't do that. So again, there's always a way to exploit this sort of thing for money and bad things and etc. I understand entirely, but there's a positivity that's lost, which at times, that's sort of, we lose our hope for humanity on those sorts of things. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But you can join people. You can just randomly click on these people and see what happens. So you can inspect them. So we're looking at their stuff. They're pretty mid. What's the amulet? Oh, it's just the bubble one. That's nice. So you can just check out other people's stuff. Inspect. So here we go. 412. Nice. Critical strikes with marksman skills. So it's attack speed. Good numbers on the attack speed. Oh, I'm missing my legendary. So it is nice that you can actually see other players and what they've got. So something that I think is really important in ARPGs, to see what everyone's doing, how their build is shaping up, what sort of thing that they want. Again, from a trading point of view, would make sense when you go, what sort of rare do you want to give them, so they can imprint the legendary on it if they want to go that direction, or they're going to swap across legendaries. Okay. Oh, he's got a whirlwind. Leaves behind dust devils. He's got the tornado one. And then look at these. Some nice rings. So everyone's got good stuff. And you'll get good stuff too, because it's not hard to find it. Because again, there's no trading, so everyone's solo self-found for the most part anyway. So you'll find good things. Hopefully they don't adjust the drop rates. Hopefully they just keep it the same. I think it's fine. The problem is just the level cap 25. Just sort of makes me go, ugh. Because I don't want to keep playing and do that. But at the same time, the game is fun. So it's a fun game. You want to keep playing. So not having progress carry over and all that, is what it is. But if they could just have one thing, I just want one thing to carry over. Please. Just the stash space. I just want the stash tabs to carry over. So I spent a lot of money to get that extra 100k. I want to keep it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm not sure what the limit is on stash tabs. I'm sure someone's worked it out, but I hope it's 100,000 stash tabs. Yeah. Anything else to talk about? There's a healing person who doesn't really feel like they're necessary. Again, back to the merchants being, their personality isn't there for all of them, most of them. They don't, except for your jewelry and your aspects guy, because again, they are very special. So everyone else though doesn't feel very special. So it kind of, this is where voice acting, characters, again, they could have, this guy here, they can definitely do a lot more with the jeweler. They don't look anything like a jeweler. Cheap ruby. No, saving my money. I haven't got much. But again, the store could be a little bit more zany because it is a jewelry shop. You can do a bit more. There's a bit more personalization we could have. The other issue, probably the one that's going to affect people the second most, apart from loading zones, is this visibility at times. So there's situations in which you can't really see yourself, depending on the walls and the ceilings. There is a objects loading in, not, you know, visibility issue at times in some areas. Not all of them, of course. Some are better than others, but there does feel like it's you wish you could rotate the camera. You can't rotate the camera around. You only have one point of view, which I understand. That I don't hate that or anything as a D2 fan. So I've worked and D3 fan. Oh, see, that's the loading zone there. I was just hitting that because it was trying to load because I've got a vent here. But it feels good on controller. It feels good. One of the things that controller can be quite challenging with melee, but they do a really good job with the melee. So I'm quite happy with the job that they've done. To be honest, there's a couple things they didn't learn from Diablo 2 Resurrected, but it's not that you can't do them. It's just that the default is stupid. So let me just okay, let's get some loot. Okay, let's have a look at these boots. What's that one? Nope. Nope. So what do we got? Flame shield lets you move unhindered through enemies, which is one thing I have here. 1 rank teleport, 1 rank ice armor, 1 to max evade charge. That's actually really good. Except I'm using Frost Nova, so I'm gonna. But this, if I was on a normal sort of sorceress with teleportation and say ice armor, that'd be really, really, really good. That's really good. Flame shield though as well. So you need flame shield plus ice armor plus teleport. So you need all the movement, all the agility. So one of the other things I want to talk about quickly is that each skill has a bracket. So we have conjuration, defensive, core, and basic. And when you first start, I didn't instinctively realize that this middle thing actually had any value. It felt like it was just a checkpoint, but when you had to stop on it and go, oh, it's the name. And that's really, really important for loot later on, is knowing exactly which skills you have, which are part of which bracket, so you know which items actually matter and what effects actually matter. So if you see basic skills increase attack speed, then it's only for the basic one. It's not for your other skills. So it's like, oh, it's just for the most basic, you know, fireball. So there's a couple of modifiers that they could make it easier to use them than other ones, and I don't know. There's a bit they could do, a bit more mixing the two together. So you can say core and basic, or I mean, there's not a huge amount of ultimate modifiers yet because we're only low level, but there's a lot of, you know, mastery ones. Like, do I even need that? But these are all the impressions of. I'm just trying to scattershot, fire everything I can think of. So we had the instances where you had poor visibility. Some items that don't disappear in the environment as you go past them, and some that do, so you can't quite see all the time. Yes, we're doing that. And then we just have loading issues. So this whole, if you dash around too much, you can get a bit of this. And the internet's been a bit choppy for me for the last hour and a half, to be perfectly honest. But I am in Australia, so, you know, it is what it is. Let's see. I've left the area, come back to the cathedral. Where are the NPCs? They're there. So they have fixed it somewhat. See, they did fix it. Yeah. They've improved. Things are improving tremendously. Oh my goddy cape again. You can zoom in, which I'm happy they have the option, but I want to be able to zoom out further. I feel like at times you're too zoomed in, even when you're zoomed out. But yeah, you can zoom in, but it's So this is one of the issues, the cape. It's supposed to be behind me. Sometimes it gets wrapped around my neck. So that's a physics issue, and I got it fixed then. It's just a little bit... Okay, it's fixed now. It's fixed. It's wonderful. Dialogue. There's only a couple little bits of dialogue I'm going to edit. I've made a separate video about that. You can watch that on my channel. Just a little bit of a point about just not having dialogue that spoils the game in the game or talks. I'll save it. That's fine. Alright, health is all good. The potion system works okay. You can upgrade how powerful they are. Sometimes I feel like it's a bit annoying because you can't use the potion mid-action sometimes. Some of them you can, some of them you can't. So mid-spells, and then certain where you're immobilized and captured when you're in most danger, you can't use them. And it's kind of like, oh no. So you do need to have some defensive skills. The game, difficulty-wise, I'm on the veteran, so the second world tier. I feel like for the open beta, okay. They need to give us the next difficulty tier. So I'll zoom out. Just go zoom again. I'll show you where you do it. But they need to give us the high difficulty because it just feels like, oh, it's done it again. My bloody cape. This bloody shocking cape. Come on, come on. No, keep going that way. There we go. No. Okay, there we go. Fixed it. So when you come here, you can change your world tier, which is the difficulty, and you get more gold. So one of the things I want, it says Nightmare's level 50 to 70. Just give us Nightmare in the beta. Keep us at 25. Give us Nightmare anyway. I think people would enjoy that. Just to have some sort of, and you get your Nightmare sigils. Just give this some sort of, oh, that's the tease of endgame type situation. Look, new unique items at Ancestral. So yeah, I think that would be really nice. Just because people need to be punished a bit. You know, the bit of, oh, I'm so powerful in OP, which, you know, show them what you got, Diablo team. Apart from that, I'd like more charges, default. Dodge charges. Dodge charges. It is, it's a dodge charger. I'd like default 2, and then you get up to 3, because I feel like not only having 1 and then you have to wait for your countdown, it's a bit... So I know the Rogue has skills that decrease the time, but no. I want everyone to have more. Barbarian in particular. More speed. Because there's a lot of running around. Having said that, if you go through the open world and you dash too much, you go too fast, the load times can't keep up, you get load times, you get stuck on invisible walls. There's a bit to work through. Oh, I was going to talk about... we need more options. So, way more for graphics. There's nothing there for performance mode. Resolution. Obviously we're missing all that sort of stuff. Loot filter. And we have a sound filter for loot. Sounds fine. So some of the options are good. Getting combat flash. One of the things you can do... Okay, here we go. Come on. With sound you can do it, the loot filtering, which is kind of strange. Come on, here we go. So item drop sounds, what you can do is you can adjust it. So you have only the higher level items have a sound. So you don't get a sound when it drops crap. So that's the best way to sort loot. This is actually a really important piece of information that probably isn't well distributed, but... So just having the legendary and unique there, or rare, just rare is probably fine. And then audio and ambient loot, so when it's in the world, so you don't miss it. You can do that, so you can... But again... Yeah, it's just not a big deal. Don't worry about that too much. You're going to see everything anyway. Controls, this is probably where we get the biggest issue. For me, the biggest issue on console. It defaults to this. It does combine, interact, and basic skill as a default, which is absolutely wrong and stupid. So I want you to do your main attack, your main swinging of your weapon, flinging of your spell, as also the pickup for items, which is just shockingly bad. Shockingly bad. and then evade goes to circle, which again is another stupid decision. So as soon as you come in on console, turn it off. Disable combine, interact, and basic skill. Switch interact to X. Basic skill I've got on R1 on the R1 trigger, and then core skill, which is your big beefy boy, is on the R2. Then I've got evade on L1, because evade on L1 is just so much better because you need it a lot, especially in the boss battles. Skills, you can have them on all these. Again, I'm not too worried about that. You know, L2 I think for your third main skill. On console, I think it's better to not use as many skills. Just the nature of the console, the controller. I feel like that's why my build is mostly just R2. Mostly just R2 and then L2. Keep it simple. Not that you can't use square and all that for buffing type situations. Again, everyone's different. See how we go. Use potion I got on the right arrow. I haven't even got the mount button on, but I'll probably do that on town portal because you don't need town portal. You just open your map. Some of the missions are slightly less relevant than others, and they seem very for a purpose. But for the most part, I think it's looking like a really, really good game. Really, really good. Can I do a mount? No mount? I'm no mounting. No mount? No mount? No mount? Yeah, of course, no mount. There's a bear there. Oh. You cannot defeat my bubble. So yeah, this is console, this is PlayStation 5, the game looks fantastic. I'm sure the YouTube processing of the video makes it look like trash, but it looks good. So even if it's a bit bright on the YouTube video, I can tell you right now it's not like that in game. It looks really good. So like, just don't take it on face value. Trust me, bro, trust me. Some of the ore things start to drop diamonds at a certain level, so it's one of those things where you may stop collecting the ore because you don't think it's that big a deal, but you get diamonds from it later on, so it's worthwhile. Enemies appearing from, you know, hidden area, hidden under rocks and things is nice. I think that's well done. For most of the time they're off the screen, but I like the ghosts coming out of the ground when there's sculptures around. Lots of little things to pick up, and you got your dungeons, which are all very nice looking. So, and the story is interesting. So this is what I want to clarify. The story is enjoyable in a way. It does irk me in little pieces, little bits irk me, but for the most part, it's good. The main characters that matter are good. Vigo, shout out to Vigo, champion. Some of them. There's a bit of wording here and there I find that is unpleasant, but it's not the end of the world. It's just really just nitpicking, to be honest. Maybe. If it irks you as well, you tell me in the comments. You probably shouldn't. You know sort of what I mean. Maybe. Who knows? You just infer something and then say some wild speculation in the comments. One of the things I'd like to be able to do is turn off when your character says, "Oh, I've got no mana," or there's a cooldown on an ability. So here we go.
I'm not ready yet.
I want to turn that off. I don't want to hear. I want to see that skill is not ready right in the middle of my screen. I don't care. You just put that down the bottom, or don't even bother. Just have him say it. Because a couple little things like that. Just. I want to get rid of that use the wheel to open chat. I want that to go away. But I have no HUD customization options. So we need HUD customization options. I want to get rid of the town portal emblem. I want to get rid of the right arrow next to potions. Don't need it. It's fine. We know what the potions are. Get rid of the L1 next to dash. And I want to be able to copy the PC setup, because on the console we have set up for 2 controllers. So you'd have, you know, for the split screen co-op. But I want to be able to choose to do the PC style one at the bottom, because I don't like that we're different. I'm treated special. I want to be the same. A console is a pre-made PC. Say it with me. Console, pre-made PC. And in the future, PlayStation 7, 8 will be the same. Exactly the same as a pre-made PC. So we won't have any distinction. There'll be no class warfare here, alright? Alright? No second class citizens, no second class gamers, alright? I'm not having any of that. Oh, what's that over there? It's a person. Some wild person has appeared, and they were in there. What did they do in there? Another thing I don't like, and I suppose it's kind of counter to the spirit of the game at times, is that when I go into a dungeon and someone else in the open world is right there, they should be able to enter the same dungeon as me. I can kind of see why they don't want to do that, but it would have been nice if they give you like an option in the menu so you could have. Yeah. Shoot him already. I'm busy. Alright, anything good? It's all trash. Alright. So one of the things I do like is when you're in a dungeon or you're in a cave, you can go to your map, you can go to the bigger map and you can teleport. You don't have to exit the dungeon, exit the mine, exit the tunnel, exit the catacomb, and then teleport. You can just teleport. So yeah, some other games could do that as well, maybe. Maybe. Oh, we're all standing in the same spot. That's where all the bots stand. I'm joking. So yeah, I rabbited on for a quite a long time. But this is beta impressions, you know? You tell the positives, the negatives. Spells and effects are all good. Hitting effects are good. Some of them could be a little bit better than others, of course. We will get nerfs, so just warning that the whole ice skill tree will get nerfed. Maybe. And Hydra will get nerfed, absolutely guaranteed, because Hydra was trash in Diablo 2, and then Diablo 2 Resurrected, it was trash for ages, and then they tried to fix it and they made it okay, got rid of the spell delay, and then it's better. Still not great for endgame. I mean, yeah, with the Sunder Charmed and all that, it's okay, but and you need the infinity on the teammate, I mean the mercenary, but it's interesting to see what they do going forward with the buffs and the nerfs and things, because I felt like the rogue, the bow, I didn't like the feeling of some of the bow attacks. Like force shot didn't feel very good. But yeah, that's just my thoughts and feelings. These are my thoughts. You tell me what you think of the beta, the closed pre-order beta for all the Blizzard simps. I'm joking, you're not a Blizzard simp. Diablo simps. I want the Diablo team to be separated from the Blizzard. They are separate. Keep them separate. Give them better servers, someone. But yeah. It's been Frosty Fire 10. If you liked or disliked anything you've heard in this little impression video, tell me in the comments. And yeah. If you watched to this point of the video, you're a champion. Subscribe. I beg you. I'm not joking. And if you're already subscribed, thank you very much. And I hope to make some more content and have more fun. And I will have fun. Because games are good and they're fun. And positivity reigns supreme, not negativity. Happiness is all we remember, not sadness. unless it's like real life sadness and things. No, the games distract us from the sadness with their positivity. Yes. One of the other things, the other issues, is whenever you're recording a video, whenever you go to the record screen, the game goes really laggy. Really, really laggy, like in slow motion. It's awful. So you've noticed that in some of my uploads. But I'll try to cut it out, but we'll see how we go. Alright then. Yeah, this is a weird thing. Even when you're in the menu and you press the record button on the console, it sort of goes, ooh. Yeah, it's odd. Alright then. Yeah, I'll catch you next time. See, look how nice it is. All of a sudden. Whee! And some of these NPCs, the NPCs could be a lot better. Some of them in particular, but more memorable. You know, look at the dude's input. I just need more flavour here and there, especially the merchants. And the world sometimes. I still don't know why we're fighting for the world though. Why we are fighting the demons. We haven't been made. The whole Lilith blood thing. No. Everyone else has got Lilith's blood. Why are we special? I want to be made special. We're special, damn it. We're the main character. Hopefully that doesn't carry through, but I worry for the game and the story, whether or not it'll carry through that we aren't special at all. And we just killed 10 million demons. On our resume it says 10 million demons slayed, and they go, well, how many doors did you lockpick? And you're like, well, I don't lockpick doors. I killed the demons. And you're like, oh, you don't matter. Only the lockpick matters. And the one who casts those spells that you can't cast for some reason. I'll hold back. We'll see what happens at release. This may be an issue going forward. We shall see.
I cannot do that here.
Why the heck does it bloody write that on the screen? I don't care. Just have the guy say it once, and then we get over it. We'll work it out.
Downright sinful, the price you're asking.
Just last week, I paid half that for carrots. Puh!
You keep this up. We'll either be broke or starving by the next moon.
We could use little survival aspects. We could bring wood, give them wood for money. Little basic crap. Maybe. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Alright then, bye-bye. I'm really bye-bye now. Bye-bye.